はい、皆さん、こんにちは。私、マーク・マリンです。
皆さん、こんにちは。私はグレイグ・テイラーです。
はい、
よろしくお願いします。
はい、Musings in Japan ようこそ。
Yeah, welcome everyone.
Welcome to
Welcome to
Musings in Japan.
Musings from Japan.
From Japan, that's right. And I'm Mark Marin.
And I'm Greg Taylor.
So Musings in Japan. No,
From Japan.
From Japan. Oh, yeah, I got it. Musings from Japan. I wonder what that means in Japanese. Nihon no mokuso? Mokuso is musings, but is it Nihon no or Nihon ni? Say, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So welcome everyone. I hope everyone's fine. And I hope that you watched our last one. If you didn't, you have homework.
That's right. That's your homework tonight.
That's your homework tonight.
To watch today's Musings from Japan.
So stop this recording now. Stop it now and go to the other one. Okay, they connect. Right, Greg?
That's right. Are you back?
I'm here. Oh, welcome back. I'm glad you checked it out. Okay, welcome. Welcome to Musings Japan. Number
11.
11.
11.
11.
11番ですね。
11番です。Number 11. That's right. And today we're gonna chat about some funky stuff. Actually, what I want to make a point is that, since we're expatriates living abroad, and we're living in another country, and we have, have established ourselves with our family and friends and jobs and whatever here in Japan, there are some things that I try to keep in contact with America, and very few actually. And Greg will tell you.
For you, that's true. That's right.
Greg will tell you that I really hate the news, some American news. It bothers me now. I'm tired of listening to the way Americans speak. Just the tone of the voice, the use of the language, of the overemphasis on words in a way that they were never meant to be done, but yet, everyone wants to copy the American sound and the American way of talking, the American way of speaking, and the American way of thinking, and so I've kind of divorced myself from all that. But Greg, and I'm sorry, Greg, I apologize in front of all the millions of people around the world who are watching this video, that sometimes I always pick on Greg because I always say, you're in Japan now, stop watching that crap.
Sometimes?
Okay. Most of the time?
Maybe somewhere in between.
Somewhere between, like quite often.
Quite often. That's a good.
But there are some
adverbial phrase.
But there are some things I still stick to. Of course, music and jazz, but sports. And there's one thing that I've been doing in Japan for now. This is my 28th season. 28 years I've been doing this. I have been doing fantasy football for 28 years. And actually 29. My first year I did fantasy football with a friend of mine in Niigata at the time, and we kind of did it. And it was interesting because you had to write it on paper, and then we had to send emails. It was kind of like I don't know the style it was. So you didn't see anything statistics. So one guy collected all these emails, calculated the statistics, and said who won. And it was really old school, very old school.
Yeah.
But then 28 years ago, that friend and I decided to join ESPN's fantasy football. And the biggest reason was it was free. Yeah, no fees, nothing. And you can go on and they'll manage it. So we joined and we created a league. He did, with another guy who was actually, I believe, in Indonesia at the time. Now he was an American who was living and working in Indonesia. And we decided to make a fantasy football league that people were from all around the world who were Americans who liked American football, but we lived around the world. So we had, I believe, we have, how many members in our league, Greg? Greg is now in it.
8 or 10.
10. I think it's 10. So we have 10 members, and at the time, only 2 actually lived in the United States. The other 8 of us were from, my friend and I were from Japan. There was one person in Mongolia, one, like I said, Indonesia, the Philippines, couple people, one in Australia, and I think South Africa and Europe. I mean, it was just everywhere, even South America, I think at one time. So we had members from everywhere. But it's been difficult trying to keep this fantasy football league going because, people move, they change, their jobs change. So the guy for example, who was in Mongolia now is back in America. And I actually believe he was from Chicago. So he's back at home working there and stuff. Another guy moved from overseas. Now he's back at home and but he's in Georgia. The military guys that are still in the group are still overseas, like me. But we had a hole last year, or 2 years ago now. We had a hole in our league, and we needed to recruit another member. So I got Greggy to join.
Yeah, I was very happy to join it too, and I wanted to be a member for a long time. And we did some other. That was ESPN, but we did Yahoo's.
Yeah, we did a Yahoo one with another guy
years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, at least.
Yeah, so with the guy here.
That was a year.
But that was only like 3 of us or 4 of us, I think. 4.
Something like that. And then, but that was it. That was just for me, it was for 1 year.
Yeah.
And I never seemed to find my own personal time to do fantasy football. But last year, the year before I got into it with the league, with your league in ESPN, on ESPN, and last year I did it.
You know what's funny was Greg's first year, he came in dead last.
I was the very last.
But Greg, in Greg's defense, Greg came in you missed the draft. I think you came in late. You were a late replacement, but somebody bailed on us, so you filled in the hole. But you didn't get a chance to draft. You didn't really set up the team the way you wanted it, and you had just got what you got and finished dead last. But last year, Greg did a little preparation, got some players, and made some trades with.
I worked at it too during the season,
and we made some trades together. And actually, Greg went to the Super Bowl, our fantasy Super Bowl, and lost. But actually, it's just unlucky because some of your players that, if you would have just, I think you were busy or you missed placing a couple people in, you could have won that Super Bowl. But who knows? It's really
well, I was
hard.
Still pretty excited how it all turned out.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, and I finished in the consolation group this year, and I do it, and usually my group always finishes. I actually last year was like the first time in like 7 or 8 years that I finished outside of the championship round. I ended up in the consolation round. I've only been in the consolation round like 3 times out of 28 years, but I've only won the Super Bowl once, and that was in 2000. It's been 20 years since I won a Super Bowl. And think of it's been 20 years. I feel like the Chargers never won one. Anyway, like the 49ers maybe. It's been it's like a long time. But I've been in the Super Bowl, I think out of the 28 years, I've been in the Super Bowl like 13 times, I think is what I counted. My record in the Super Bowl is 1 in 12.
Remember,
that's bad. Remember
when we first came to Japan together in 1983 on the university trip?
Yeah.
America to me at that time seemed so far away, and there was no connectivity except maybe a telephone call. But even telephone calls were expensive.
Very expensive,
And so there was no way to we had no email, nothing like that, nothing of the sort, and nothing. So America seemed so far away, but with this, with the interconnected world and the globalization through the internet, we can even watch NFL football if you want, if you pay the price, or you can do the fantasy football, or you can do just about anything. You can watch Netflix here. You can do.
Yeah, Greg, you've like I think we mentioned last time that you got your Hikari television. You have your
Oh,
digital.
yeah.
Is it all set up now?
It's all set up. It was kind of difficult to set it up,
Hmm.
but once it's set up, it's okay. It's kind of nice because we have several global news services that we can watch. We can watch several news channels here in Japan that we couldn't ordinarily watch. And
Do you
there's all
have
these.
the BS satellite now? The NHK
Yes, we
satellite?
do.
Oh,
Yep.
good job. Good job. So now you can watch what I watch.
Yeah, and in fact, there was baseball games on
Right.
that were on broadcast television. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's great, and so that's
Well, is your TV bilingual? Do you know how to use the
we
bilingual
do have a
function?
bilingual, and I always forget where that is on the remote control.
Well, every remote control is different, so you have to look. But
But
uh,
if the station offers the bilingual
when they show
English,
the Major League Baseball and the golf, they're all bilingual, Greg.
Oh, you mean even here in Japan, the major league, or are
Yeah,
you talking about
yeah.
American
It was on this morning.
American baseball?
Baseball. Yeah, the Cubs were playing.
Oh, I should have watched that. That would have been
See
great.
now, Greg, you have to do what I do. So I get a newspaper, an actual paper, none of this digital crap that you get from the States. Sorry. Try to edit that out. I'll edit that out. Anyway,
No, we
you get a newspaper.
We get the newspaper every day.
So open your newspaper, and inside under the Japanese listings, you'll see it said Eisei Hoso, which means satellite broadcast, the Eisei Hoso.
Oh.
And it'll say NHK1, NHK2, and it'll show you the listings. And so this morning at, I believe, 2 hours ago, there was a baseball game. Could be still on right now. And they show usually almost every day they show an American baseball game. The Angels, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Nationals, Minnesota Twins, the Yankees. All these teams have Japanese players on them, so you can see them.
That's
all
right.
the time.
So you can see them here in Japan.
And the most popular team right now in Japan is the Angels, because of Otani, Shohei Otani's on there. So every time the Angels play, I get to see Southern California. I get to see the Anaheim, and I get to see the Angels, and it's kind of cool. And you can watch it in English, listen to the American announcers.
Are you following Japanese baseball right now?
Oh, I just know Hanshin's in second place.
Well, what about Chunichi?
They're in third.
Yeah, see, what's up with them this year? They're doing good.
No,
they're doing pretty good.
They were in second place 2 weeks ago, Greg.
Hanshin well, I know,
but now they're losing. Right? They're on a losing streak.
Well, okay, but they were winning the last time I checked, so I guess now they're losing.
Yeah, they were higher up. They've lost 4 out of 6 games. They've only won a couple games in a row. Actually, they're barely coming back. But Hanshi was in 4th place and went on a winning streak, and they are moving up higher. So hopefully they'll just kick Chunichi out of there.
Now, oh, by the way, you
Hanshin
see the
Tigers.
You see
Tigers.
Hanshin Tigers. Yeah, that's Osaka.
That's right.
Right. Yeah, and but I noticed that every time I get these Google updates on my iPhone, I get the it says Chunichi Dragons, and they're like always winning games, and I thought, what's up with that? Because the past several seasons they've been pretty, pretty bad.
Hanshin and Chunichi have been on the bottom for the last couple of years. In the Central League. Oh, and we should explain, in Japan, there are 2 leagues. Like in America, you have the American League and the National League. Japan, you have the Central League and the Pacific League. And the Central League is the old league. And so Chunichi and Hanshin and the Yomiuri Giants, Yakult Swallows, and Hiroshima Carp are in the Central League. The last few years, though, Hiroshima and the Giants and Yakult Swallows have been the stronger teams. So, excuse me. Go ahead, talk, Greg.
So anyway, so my team, Chunichi Dragons, that's my favorite team, because I went with my father-in-law to the game a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and that was a big That was a big
A
day. That
big
was a
deal.
fun
Yeah.
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was great. It was just like going to an American baseball game in some ways. Most ways, it was like an American baseball. But there's a little bit, to me, I think Japanese baseball games are a little bit more exciting.
You see, I see
And the reason I say that is because of the fan experience and what the fans do at the game and everything. All there was constant sound in the stadium, constant video, and it just felt more exciting to me than an American
well,
baseball
I
game.
think what you need to do is you need to go to Koshien Stadium in Osaka. If we get a chance in this pandemic, you need to go down to Osaka, watch Junichi play the Hanshin Tigers in Koshien Stadium, and you sit because you can't sit in the main stand because you'll be a visitor. So you get to sit on the Chunichi stand in the outfield. It's crazy, Greg. You think
Yeah, I'd
it's
like to do that.
oh man, when you go see a baseball game at Koshien Stadium or at the Big Egg, the Giants Tokyo Dome, it's crazy because and I always watch Hanshin, so every time Hanshin has the biggest following of fans next to the Giants. Those two teams are the most popular teams. But the Giants have won like 27 championships. The Hanshin has only won one. You know, it's kind of actually I think Chunichi has more championships than Hanshin Tigers.
No kidding.
Yeah, but
So
Hanshin has been to like maybe 15 or 16 World Series or Japan Series. They've only won once. And actually, and the one time they won was in 1985, 2 years after we came, Greg. They won the championship, and people in Osaka went crazy. They had people went on the streets and were like rioting and trashing places. And there's a famous in downtown Osaka. There's a famous food area, and they had a Kentucky Fried Chicken there, and they took the Colonel Sanders statue, and all this mob of people dislodged it, picked it up, and threw it into the river. It was like a celebration. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're great.
wow.
And since then, since that time, since they threw Colonel Sanders in the river, Hanshin has only been back to the Japan Series once. They called it the Kentucky Curse. Because
Kentucky curse.
yeah, it was kind of funny. But actually, they found the Colonel Sanders a few years ago when they were dredging the river. They found it and they pulled it up and they cleaned it up and put it back, thinking that would help. Didn't help anyway.
It didn't help.
No.
Oh boy.
But Hanshin's doing well this year. They're up there, but I don't hold my breath. But I like Hanshin, and the fans experience. You're right, is so loud.
It's pretty loud. You told me about that, and then I was watching on TV, and I watch a baseball game every now and then.
But they're not allowed to scream right now because of the pandemic, the COVID. The people go there and
yeah, it's I have not watched a baseball game since they allowed the fans back, or a certain amount of fans back, and in fact, I'm just glancing over at the TV, by the way, but I have watched the baseball games when there was nobody in the stadium, but it was still nice to see a baseball game, in spite of everything that's happening in the world today.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching the Major League Baseball, but and right now I'm watching the NBA basketball, and it's kind of and again, I love basketball. It's the sport that I really love the most. But Japanese
American football's my sport.
Yeah, and that's fine. But Japanese basketball's so bad, so weak. They try to copy the American style of basketball, but they don't have the skill set or the I would say the instinct, because they don't play street basketball here. They have no street culture in terms of basketball. There's no parks with hoops. There's no Rucker Park like you have in New York. There's no, like I used to play in driveways in my friends' houses. Nobody has a hoop anywhere, so everything they do for basketball here is in a gym under controlled conditions with a coach. doing the same thing. Everyone does the same thing. So no one has that kind of the creative street instinct that basketball brings out. That only basketball, because baseball used to have it. You had the stick ball in New York, and the street baseball. You play street baseball, Greg?
No, oh no.
I mean, I used to do that when I was a kid. In down in San Bernardino, Rialto, we would go out there. Okay, the Chevy is first base. The manhole cover is second base. Your Volkswagen will be third base. Home base will just take some chalk and draw on the ground.
We kind of did that. We kind of did with we did that at my family's house. We had I don't know how we did it, but we
would do it on the street, and if you hit a
we did it in my yard. I mean, front and backyard, we had little baseball stadium.
Yeah, we would do that. We played with wiffle balls,
and we had really, we had real baseballs, and we used
we did that.
I don't know what we did.
We did that.
We had these. Maybe they were plastic balls. These plastic balls. They were
wiffle balls.
And they're white, and they you hit them, and they fly pretty far, but they don't hurt anything.
They go.
Yeah.
Wiffle ball.
Maybe it was a wiffle ball that we had.
But we sometimes played with balls, and I'd hit them into the windows, and my father would get angry. I don't know how many windows my brother and I broke in our backyard playing baseball. On the streets we used to play with tennis balls. We would use a regular bat, a wooden bat, not aluminum, but a wooden bat and a tennis ball, and it smacked the crap out of that. you know. But if you couldn't hit it like past the elm tree over here, that'd be foul. If you hit the roof of that house, because that guy had a mean dog, you're out. Whatever. We just played on the street, go to the fields.
Did you ever have to have a neighbor down the street that you had to watch out when you walked by their house because they had a mean dog and it was never on a leash?
All of them had a mean dog. They had nothing to do with leashes. This mean dog. That's but in basketball, we would go to people's friends' house and go play the driveway. You just pull up and play in the driveway. It was really cool. But in Japan, you don't do that. We don't play. My sons did that because we happened to live near an junior high school. So on the weekend when the school was out, we would go over to their field and play baseball. And it was kind of good because my sons would invite their friends and say, hey, we can play baseball here. And they're going, really? And so we would do that, and I would go out there in the pitch and I'd play with them and stuff. And that's kind of nice. But if you don't have land, if you don't have space, or you don't live near a school that's kind of open, parks here are very small, right? Right, Greg?
Generally speaking,
they're really tiny. So you can't play in the park. All you do in the park is sit under a tree, read a book, or listen to your iPod or something.
There's a park near where I work that's about a 5 to 10 minute walk south of where I work that you can probably have a game of baseball, but it's not where it wouldn't be, you'd be far out there, but it's a big enough playground they have on the park. But there's another park about 5 minutes north of where I work that is a very secluded woody park with thick forest and vegetation, in the middle of the city.
Yeah, but kids don't think about that. I mean, it's been so many years that there is no culture just to go out and play like that. I mean, kids here play. They'll play with each other. How do I say that? they'll
play with each other.
They'll play together. How's that?
Play together.
I don't want to play with each other.
Yeah.
But kids will play together, but it's kind of like inside kind of things. They'll go into your house, into your room. They'll, and I guess here we go again. I'm getting old, but kids would often come and play, and they go to your room and they're on the games. You got a Wii or a PlayStation or something like that. So, and right now in Japan, the gaming is really popular way for kids to play. Right? So I'm into basketball. So right now online every day I can watch the NBA bubble games, the finals, the champion, what do you call it? The playoffs. I can watch it on free online, and I have a website and just log on. And actually it comes from Canada. So I'm watching, I guess TSN is that Toronto Sports Network, and they have,
Interesting.
they have links with TNT and with ESPN, but Toronto Sports Network. So sometimes I'm watching a game and I'm listening to Toronto announcers.
Announcers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind
Do
of
you have a VPN? Do you need a VPN?
no, I don't. I don't. I'm not using VPN. I have my own security software and I have my own thing, but it's no problem. It's just a website. Just go on, log on. I'm in. There it is.
That's great. That's
No
great.
problems. I mean, so I'm watching all the games, and man, I'm im- impressed on how the game has changed from when I played and when I coached here, and even when I was coaching here in Japan. Now the game is completely different. The style of play, the shooting concept, who I was talking with somebody showing a game when I was at school, another teacher, and I was explaining that, when I was playing basketball and when I coached basketball and when I learned basketball, is that, you feed the low post, you try to run things to the low post, and you kind of like, you can do baseline routes, pick and rolls, from the low post. But the low post doesn't exist anymore. Everyone is doing high post or from the L, from the top of the key, but everything's you're doing high pick and rolls, and everything is extended to the 3-point line or even outside of the 3-point line. So you're picking up defense almost half court. And I was like, wow, I mean, half court defense, and the whole middle of the floor is wide open. If you attack the rim, that's fine. And you like Antetokounmpo with Giannis Antetokounmpo, who plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. I've been learning about him. He's the MVP from last year, and man, he's tall, he's lanky, he's athletic, and he's got a great a Euro step move that he gets into the middle of the key, and boom, it's an instant dunk. And when he moves in there, people collapse. Easy pass. He fills up the middle. But to be honest, most people are saying, though, if your team doesn't shoot good from the 3-point line, you're not going to win. I mean, look at Golden State, had been the best team for the last few years.
Yeah. How are they now?
Well, it doesn't matter. They got injured, and people left their team, so they're not even in the playoffs. They're not even there.
Kidding.
No, because they were like one of the worst teams. They were automatic. They didn't have to play. But what they established, outside shooting, high pick and rolls, that kind of you drive in to throw out to shoot. That's the thing. He said you used to drive in, the Michael Jordan drive in and try to get your shot and a foul and get a 3-point shot, what they say the old-fashioned way, from the line. But no, not anymore. You drive in and then you find the outside person who's open. They shoot a 3 because statistically a 3-point shot is worth more value than a 2-point shot. And if you get fouled on the 3-point shot, you can get a 1 free throw. You can get a 4-point play. So in the changing of the rules, what is a foul now? They call the flagrant foul just because a defender went up at the same time, came down, but his foot was underneath the shooter, and the shooter stepped on his foot. That's kind of the impeding the landing spot of the shooter, and that's called a flagrant foul. That goes on.
Bad.
It goes on your record,
That's
flagrant
too
fouls
bad.
accumulate. Well, I understand the safety part because I can, I don't want to show you my ankles and how damaged they have been from playing basketball and all the twisted ankles I had from doing that, But
I see.
But it's a completely different game. What they call a foul when I played basketball would be nothing, wouldn't be anything. It would be play on. It's like, give me a break. That's not a foul. This is a foul.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe there is a safety issue. I don't know, but I'm not.
But it's so nice to watch NBA basketball. And now this week,
that's good.
But this week we have to draft for our fantasy football, Greg.
Yeah. What date is that?
Well, they said
I thought it was the 5th.
no, the
I thought it's
7th
already
or
been
8th.
done. 7th or 8th. Okay, I'll put it on my
I think
calendar.
it's the 9th in the States, would be the 8th for us. It's Tuesday.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
So,
but it's at a time I can't do it.
Me too. But so I already went in and I did my list, and I edited my draft and tried to plot what I wanted. And, and it's funny because Greg, for me, everyone out there, Greg is my source of football, because I have been here 30 years, and I have only watched how many live games? The only games I watched live from America
Mark, hold on
have been Super Bowls.
Hold on a second. I want people to hear this. Hold on.
What? Where's he going? Anyway, but I've only watched Super Bowls live, and because they show that in Japan, but I haven't been able to watch an NFL regular season game. A couple years ago, Greg and I got on the NFL Game Pass, and I watched some games that way. But I always watched it after the fact. I could never watch it live because it's happening when I'm at work.
Sorry for the interruption. Did you hear it?
Well, I didn't hear it. What was it?
Oh, it was the community siren.
Oh,
it's
and
for
those
of 6 a.m., noon.
Yeah, for those of you,
and so on.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't been with us before, this will be on the test. So, okay,
that's right.
That's our thing.
But I wanted to I was hoping it would be audible to our audience, but apparently not.
Well, I was talking.
Yeah. So.
So anyway, yeah. So Greg, what you need to do is go log in onto the ESPN site and get in there and adjust your list. Now, yeah, see, I'm doing this completely from listening to ESPN Sports Podcast, talking to Greg, and whatever I read on the internet. But what I haven't seen a live game. I've seen recorded games. I watch highlights, but highlights are always highlights. I never see the negative parts. I always see the good parts. That's why they're called highlights, not lowlights. So I really, every year I do this, and I'm pretty competitive, but I think if I actually could see games regularly live and really get a feel of the football game again, maybe I could do better at this fantasy stuff. But I haven't won a Super Bowl in 20 years, Greg.
Well,
about time.
I almost came close to winning. I was pretty excited about that. I thought it was nice.
This is how long ago it's been since I won a Super Bowl. You know who my quarterback was for my Super Bowl team?
Let me guess.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner. That's 20 years ago, I would think.
That was the Rams when the Rams were in St. Louis and doing that. But the greatest show on turf, as they used to call it. That's what.
So I get the I sometimes look at the LA Times online, and the LA Times had a gorgeous picture of the new stadium that's ready to go. About ready to go in Los Angeles, and it was looks like it's going to be a great place to see football.
Wait a minute, is this year the 75th anniversary of a football, or the 100th anniversary?
I don't know, Mark, but I
think it's a memorial year this year.
Is it
in the NFL? I think so.
Yeah.
Those of you who are out there, please correct me, or please give us information.
Oh, by the way, speaking of corrections. Look at in the background. I put this picture up, and you see the picture of the temple.
Yes,
and this
is
not
the shrine.
This is Daijuji Temple in Okazaki, and it's not a shrine. Like I called it a shrine last time on Musings from Japan number 10.
So you said Daijuji. It says Daiju Temple.
Temple. That's right.
Because G means temple.
Yes. Okay. It's actually redundant in English. And so anyway, I made a mistake, and I apologize for that because I try to speak Japanese, and of course we do make mistakes when we're speaking a second language. Everybody makes mistakes, and I made mine.
Honto?
That's right. So anyway, yeah.
So what you should do, Greg, is that you should get some cold soba noodles and put them on your head and walk outside and say, oh, as
as
penance for
penance. Yeah.
penance.
They'd lock me up for sure. They'd throw away the keys.
I want to see the video.
Foreigner to jail. That's right.
I'll pay for that. Anyway.
By the way, I think I told you. Yeah, I did tell you on my car I have a video camera.
Yeah.
If I can film accidents, including my own, if I have one.
So have you been doing that? Have you seen any yet? Or?
I haven't seen any accidents, and nor do I hope I see any. Or
you're not involved.
It's all good.
Definitely not involved. Yeah.
No, it's none of that. But and then in Musings from Japan #10, I talked about a typhoon, or there was a couple of typhoons that were.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Coming up on the west side of Kyushu and that area.
Well, that one.
I'm looking right now on NHK or the TV right now. They just showed we have a major, like a monster storm coming up right now.
This is a Category 4.
4, yeah, it's a Category 4 storm, and it's not going to be a direct hit on Kyushu, the westernmost island, but it's going to skirt. It's going to be on the west side of Kyushu.
Actually, it's going to hit Korea.
It's going to hit Korea head on. From
Actually,
south.
For those of you who watched Musings from Japan 10, that typhoon went and hit Korea and came around and created this Fern phenomena in Japan, and on my side of Japan became the hottest place in Japan, and we had recorded our first it was 40 degrees in Sanjo, Greg.
Yeah,
40. It was the hottest place in Japan, and I mean it's like 107, 108 degrees. I mean, I think on my Facebook page, those of you who are on Facebook, I walked into the arcade, which is in front of my school. It's all covered, but it was like walking into a sauna. The heat was so oppressive in there, and it was very difficult to breathe. And it's never over 100. And actually, it's the first time it's been over 100 recorded in our area in September ever in the history of record keeping, which goes back quite a couple centuries ago. So
let me show you a picture of the current weather weather radar right now. This is Typhoon 10, which is coming up. It's not going to hit my area, other than we'll get you might even get a little bit of rain tomorrow. We're going to get a little bit of rain tomorrow, but this is the typhoon, and you can see it spinning around Kyushu. The blue dot about here is central Japan, which is where I live. And that's my location. And
if you look where it says Japan on Greg's thing, up there's a little island. If you go north of that, back up with Greg.
Yeah, there we go.
If you see the word Japan, and if you go directly north of that, you see a small island. That's where I live, in that area. That's Sado Island. That's part of Niigata Prefecture.
Yeah, that's right. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Yeah. I'll zoom in. This shows a little bit of the radar, but that you can see the blue dot, the big blue dot in the center, the picture, or the center of the island.
That's Greg.
Yeah,
and up there you says Niigata. That's where I'm at. There. And all those little orange lines are the rivers systems in Japan. And what they've been doing on these alert systems is they put rivers now, because we have a major problem with flood control. And a lot of dams in Japan are designed for flood control, and some are just designed for power or water storage. So keeping track of the typhoon helps them to determine whether they should release some water to prepare for the overflow. 20
dams have done that in Western Japan.
Right.
In advance of this hurricane, which is hitting tonight.
Right.
I think it's going to be tonight in Kyushu, to the southern part of Kyushu, and so.
But the majority of the power of that, the majority of the power is that, for Japan, it's gonna be bad. But the majority of that typhoon is going to hit Korea. So it's going this year. Actually, that's the third typhoon or fourth typhoon that's hit Korea.
I think it's the third typhoon at least. Maybe it is the fourth. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the Korea's getting in a bad. This is a bad year for Korea.
For them, and usually those
South and north.
Usually those typhoons would hit Kyushu or hit, Hyogo or the Kansai or where Greg's at. Usually, but for this year, because of there's some sort of trough, the what do you call it, off of Mongolian, the Siberian trough, has been kind of moved a little bit further north. So instead of the typhoons hitting that trough and coming this way, it's going up this way and then hitting. So when it goes up this way, hits Korea, that comes over. So I might get the rain, 5 or 6 days later. The rain will come. It'll come back off of Korea and China and come dump on me. I don't like that.
Yep.
So you've been lucking out that way, Greg. But you've got some pretty hot weather, though. You've got hot weather.
Yep. And this year we have, and it's not quite like California. Our old home years ago was today, where they had 117 or 18 in Riverside, San Bernardino area.
My home. Thank you.
Yep. Pretty bad, but it's pretty hot here now. So
yeah. Well. So anyway, Greg, so this week, I hope you have a good week and everything and stay cool. Don't get heat stroke, but that's the big trend right now in Japan.
Well, let's hope it's not. Yeah. So
yeah.
By the way, I turned on the picture again. As you can see, I turned on the picture from the temple again. So anyway.
Yeah. So, minasan, arigatou gozaimashita. Sukare-sama deshita, Greg.
Otsukaresama deshita. Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
That's Musings from Japan, wrapping up Musings from Japan number 11.
Number 11, double ones. Yeah, number 11,
right.
Musings from Japan. And please check it out, tell your friends. And this week I have no advice on life outside of be good, be happy, and enjoy. Okay? Peace out.
Okay, Mark. Yeah,
See you,
peace
Greg.
out.
Peace out. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.